What's up, everybody? Goji Person 54 here, and today we're talking about the new and most recent PlayStation State of Play, specifically a certain part of it. So Sony, I have talked about you for some time on my channel. You know, ooh. Now I have not always said the best things about you, but rip, my bad. I've said some things. Maybe this is finally y'all coming around. I don't know. Let's talk about some things. So, the God of War trilogy. Um, for the newer, younger audience, I don't know if you know this. Um, you've likely seen me play at least the newer God of War games, where Kratos is in the Norse mythology and goes around and with his boy and is essentially just trying to live his life and do his own thing. But of course the gods just keep bringing him back into the fight, and prophecy just keeps on involving Kratos and stuff that he would rather not be in. Now, this is I am so sorry. I did not plan this video out. I was really excited for this. So, essentially, the God of War trilogy has been anticipated to have a remake, or at least the first two games have, for quite some time now, with the remaster of God of War 3 already on the PS4. So remakes were honestly pretty bleak when it came to if we were getting them or not. And considering, they only remade and remastered The Last of Us so many goddamn times, um little surprising they decided to just drop this on us now. So, this is kind of where I'm going to stand in this. I essentially want to say what I do and don't want for this trilogy. Um, I've seen a lot of videos say that they don't want it to look like the newer games, and yes and no. I don't think that it's going to be word for word like the newer games. However, one thing that we actually have to conceptually think about is that it's likely gonna be like the newer games, whether people like it or not. Because, for one, if it wasn't gonna be like the newer games, we wouldn't have had the whole Valhalla thing. Alright? Why do you think they brought so many of the Greek enemies back and so many of the arenas back? I mean, Sony has literally teased the first three games with the in Valhalla. They literally teased each and every game in that. All right, I mind you, in God of War Valhalla, in God of War Valhalla. Spoilers if you haven't played it yet, which you probably should, because God of War Ragnarok has been out since 2022, almost 4 years. I think almost 4 years. Um, and on top of that, Valhalla is a free DLC. So you get like five, maybe 10 hours tops of new, complete original story. But Kratos is essentially after Ragnarok in Valhalla. After Ragnarok has passed for some time, Kratos gets a mysterious letter nailed to his door. He has coordinates to go to the gates of Valhalla. He forcefully breaches it. And of course, that doesn't go in his favor. And then the Valkyries and Freya help him enter Valhalla. And essentially, Kratos goes around in this roguelike area in Valhalla. It's a roguelike, and you go around Valhalla until you eventually get to who sent you there. Tyr. Tyr is the Norse god of war, and he essentially is just trying to help Kratos learn to be the new god of war, or kind of help him fulfill that role. Since Tyr is sort of a myth to the people, and Kratos is a hero, the commander of Ragnarok, as people would say. However, what really signifies him as, I guess you could say, the new god of war in the Norse games is Tyr is essentially fighting him with weapons from other native areas or like places that Tyr has visited, such as he has a two Kapeshes from Egypt, I think. He has a katana, and it's hard to pronounce. It's an Aztec weapon. It's basically just like a long. Um, it's kind of like a long sword, but um, it has obsidian for the blades, and if anyone could actually tell me what that weapon is, that'd be nice. Um, Anywho, the reason I bring this up is because once Kratos gets to a certain part of Valhalla, he goes back to Greece, with Mimir being replaced by Helios, and a good portion of the Norse enemies that you'd usually fight replaced with Greek ones. So, for example, the Draugr, the base enemy of God of War 2018, and just the Raiders that are the base enemy of God of War Ragnarok, they're replaced by Undead Legionnaire. Um, Nightmares are replaced with Harpies, and um, Ogres are replaced with Cyclops, with the Cyclopes, and um, one of the enemies, Bruguthra, I believe that's what it's called, is replaced by the Minotaur, and the what was it? Anyway, and you get certain weapons from the Greek games as well, such as your Spartan Rage being replaced with the Blade of Olympus. All of this is really cool and original, and I actually really like this. One problem: how would you fit the Greek games into this new format? Okay, let's talk about it. The only issue I see here is Sony has challenged themselves here. See, if they do the Greek games into the Norse ones, like that same format, where it's like, R1 light, R2 heavy, you know, you could do that, and like, but here's the thing, I don't think they want you to do that. See, the biggest issue I see here is God of War, the Greek games are hack and slash games, while the newer ones are more story and narrative focused, right? So the I see a few issues here with trying to turn the Greek games into newer games, sort of like the Norse ones. For one, the gameplay might be a little weird because yes, the 2018 Kratos felt powerful. It didn't have that same spectacle, you know. It was like Thor was cool. You had that epic clash with him when the axe and hammer collided. But it's not like jumping off of Gaia and tackling Poseidon off of out of his own kaiju. Like the Norse games are amazing story games and a great continuation of the Greek story. But it's not like that, you know. So what I propose here is another issue is the camera. God of War, the Greek God of War games, they allowed themselves to cut and have loading screens, um, and just stuff like that. While God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, they were a continuous like hold on the shot, and this game doesn't go into a single cut until it's done. Now, you could do that with the Greek games. I'm not saying that. That would actually probably be better. Because, like, usually when you go into a cutscene, it just, does a little cut. Boom, you're at the cutscene. Now, I think you could do it like the Norse games. Now, I don't know much about gaming, but, well, in the development field, um, you could try and make it like the Norse games. If you do it with that continuous, like, hold on shot, you know? And you don't have to make it exactly like the Norse games. Honestly, if it was like in a perspective of like a GTA or RDR game, I feel like they could work with that camera angle a little bit better with the Greek games than maybe the Norse ones. But at the same time, these are remakes. So tell me, everybody, is the game going to be remade and it's just going to be the original but with better graphics and just basically redoing the lines that was previously said? No, that's a remaster, to me at least. A remake is from the ground up, build something original out of something with the old source material. For example, this probably isn't the best example. I was going to say live action Disney movies. Okay. How about the Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's do this. Screw Disney. Get it out of here. The live action How to Train Your Dragon movie. Yes, it's a remake. It's just a live action version of the animated one. But when you think about it, there was a lot of new stuff that was never in the animated one that was in the live action one. That's what I want for this remake of this trilogy. Because I really just want this to do well. And it's God of War, so it's not going to fail. God of War 1, it's been a while since I've played it actually, so I'm gonna have a little refresher here after this video is done. However, it's just like you could do it. You could do it like the older games, and I just I would love it to be in the Norse game perspective. I'm just in Greece. And here's the thing, you can do that. Look, I'm not going to lie. This is one of the rare occasions where if you just keep the brutality, the story, and the narrative intact with what happened with Kratos, I would be completely fine if the gameplay flipped and changed into something similar to the Norse games. Because as much as I love the hack and slash games, the combat in that one got repetitive. So this is one of the few instances where Sony can actually go back and fix the only issue the older games had. So I would be completely fine if they changed the combat and how it worked. Because I'm not going to lie, if I could get the Hercules's, I believe it's Cestus, yeah, his Cestus gauntlets, and beat him up and just absolutely give that dude the 1-2 3-piece combo in the newer gameplay format, I would be so happy with that. All right. And I think God of War can accomplish this. Like, I want a remake similar to the Resident Evil games, you know? Those those are remakes. See, and I believe Sony handled those too. So, you're telling me the only I'm telling y'all, look, I just have a few requests. Keep the brutality and story the same. All right? Like we have seen Kratos as a calm and reasonable person. We have seen him redeem himself, and only the newer audience is aware of Kratos as being he's just a silly guy who's trying to redeem himself. He thinks he's a bad father. No, 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 no. He was genuinely a bad person. He was a monster. He was moving out in the streets like like Prime Von. This dude was evil. Okay? Kratos is a bad person in those games. The whole point of the new one was to show the audience that he's changed or trying to change. That is why we love him so much. But now this gives Santa Monica to show him in a new gameplay format, or at least the same format from the Norse games, and they can genuinely. I'm genuinely asking for only one change. Keep the brutality, the mini games, the QTEs, and story alive, story alive with that one just hold on long shot cut until the very end of the game. The only big change that I am asking for here is keep the gameplay, change the gameplay. Do something like God of War, the newer God of War, right? You have different weapons like the Blades of Chaos. Let's go off with God of War 3. You got 3 different blade types, all right? And then the gauntlets. All right? You have here. Okay. Here, let me turn that off. You have controller, right? Here, PlayStation 4. We all love them. All right. See this little guy? See this little guy right here? Um uh Blades of Chaos, Blades of Hades, the blades Hephaestus gives you, Hercules gauntlets. Oh my god, I just solved all of that. Perfect. And just if you can make it more combo focused like the newer ones, then boom. You have a great combat system that doesn't get old and repetitive, and the greatest story ever told in a video game by Santa Monica Studios. I bid you adieu, fellas. Okay, I ranted on about that enough. I'm just excited to see the new graphics and when I can beat the brakes off of Zeus again with the gauntlets. Um, I'm not gonna say his name just because he's you know how it be. None of my friends like to share info online. Reasonable, however, you know who you are. Thank you for letting me play um, the new Sons of Sparta on your PS5. Um, so I guess I'll just do a quick little review of that. So, considering that this trilogy remake is in early development, they decided to drop a new God of War game the same day they announced this trilogy. It is essentially just a 2D side scroller God of War game that focuses on Kratos and Deimos when they were just little wee lads. And I'm not going to lie, it was really good. I liked it. I definitely think that'll hold off fans, at least until either the entire trilogy comes out or they release it one by one. Either way, I don't care. I'm gonna be real. I have a feeling Santa Monica is very generous when it comes with Kratos. I They're either gonna have us pay like $60 or $80 for the entire trilogy, or they're gonna have us pay like 30 or $40 for each game. Which either way, if we're gonna buy it, it's Kratos, guys. Come on. Um. Anyway, Sons of Sparta was real cool. It was nice seeing the original voice actor for Kratos come back and actually have some father and daughter bonding time, while Kratos tells the story of how this young how his young self, Atreus of Sparta, and Deimos, and like you get this whole original story of Kratos ascending to be a Spartan instead of like a demigod or a warrior of vengeance. And this was before Kratos got the ashes on him, and it's just like this. You could tell it was handled with care, and it breaks a heart when like Calliope says this one line where it's like, "Oh, Atreus of Sparta." But then she's like, "Oh, Atreus, I wish I could have met him." And it's like, it's so clear that they were like, "Oh, we know y'all wanted Kratos' daughter to meet her little brother, but you're never gonna get that." And it's just like, man, gotta be so cruel. All right. Um, on a side note, the God of War TV show has had a lot of actors announced. I don't know if I have time to talk about that. I will say this though, making the voice actor of Thor from the games be the new live action Kratos was certainly a choice I didn't expect, but I am happy with it. Um oh, what else? How about we talk I don't got much more to say. I think I've said most of the new news for God of War. Um Let me know what you'd like. I really just think that the Greek these remakes should be as similar as they can gameplay wise to the newer ones, but I just want its brutality and I want the world of the Greece games and Norse games to just be upheld. All right. But Santa Monica has never failed me with keeping Kratos intact as a character, whether it be in the Greece saga or in the Norse saga. A lot of people have been talking about where God of War 6 will go, since Ragnarok is technically God of War 5. Um, honestly, hear me out on this. This is just going to be a little take. Everyone wants Egypt, I know, but there's not a lot you can do with Egypt, guys. I'm not going to lie to you here. I mean, Egypt has a great mythology, and it is really cool. The sun god Ra, Osiris, and you have a lot of different characters. However, can you name me 5 Egyptian gods? Be honest. I mean, people can probably think of more Chinese mythology gods like Nija. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. Mainly because of the popularity that they have had in the film industry, with them being, just the highest grossing animated movie of all time. No biggie, no sweat. Sun Wukong, obviously. Um, Me and my friend were actually talking about that. I think Kratos has a lot of potential with Wukong, because you can actually have Kratos lose multiple times, and Wukong could technically be an antagonist. Like, he's genuinely one of the most sadistic people in his mythology. If he just tried to overthrow, like, the Buddha, and, like, say he did it successfully, imagine, like, or Freya sends Kratos out to, like, make peace and go to different mythologies and all that. If not Chinese myth, I think Japanese mythology is probably the better bet. Um, just because Japanese mythology and Chinese mythology have a lot more, like, to work with, and names are probably a lot more memorable than anything in Egypt, if I'm being honest. But that's just me. That's where Kratos should go next. I'm excited for these remakes. Sons of Sparta is a good light work snack until I get this beautiful remake. Um, I hope to see this gameplay trailer by late next year or late this year, depending if they release it all together or individually. Anyways, I've used up all my time here with y'all. Remember, I talk about God of War, Godzilla, Marvel, and all of that alike. Goji person out.